end their lives at 5 times the rate of women, starting at the age of 15. Well, that's because our entire society caters to women. And apparently, women cannot see the sheer quantity of difference between them and us. Why is that? It gets worse, though. You could be homeless. "96% of those killed by police are men. The majority of violent crimes committed against children are committed by the mothers. The majority of murders of children are committed by mothers. Did you know that? Women are just as likely as men to kill their child violently. 31% of the time when a child is killed violently, it's the mother. 31% of the time, it's the father. That's 62%. Boys are not heard. Boys work on average 7 hours per week more overtime than women. Women make 80% of the buying decisions in this country. It's horrible. Women are only in the lead in one category of victimization, and that's sexual assault, and even that is debatable now. There are so many women right now on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube, bragging about destroying men's lives, laughing about it with their friends. Hundreds of thousands of innocent men are sitting in jails and prisons across the country right now. What are you doing about it? Are you finding out if it's the truth or not, or are you just destroying an innocent man's life? Telling him he wanted it, needed it, chose it, or deserved it. Those of us with aspergers are quite a bit more likely to end our existence than the rest of you. There's a reason for that. We are not heard. We get sent around in circles and talked over as if we're retarded. Our rights are denied wholesale. People have a bad habit of saying real cruel things, don't they? Especially when they don't get what they want. I get to deal with your patterns of speech. I know that when I try to explain to you what autism really is, you already think you know everything because you read a pamphlet made by Autism Speaks in 2012. Autism Speaks doesn't speak for us. They do not speak for us. There were a lot of doctors in the 90s, made a lot of progress. And then, after they dispelled a bunch of mythology about us, after they showed in the 90s that it's not that we don't have emotions, it's that we're not allowed to express them. How many of you fathers out there have gone to the grocery store and your child wants something and you're not going to buy it for them? How many of you have had to deal with a tantrum over something like that? Now, how many of y'all with girlfriends or wives have had to deal with the same thing? If she doesn't get what she wants, it's going to be an argument. Except what she wants is more expensive. There's a lot of people who want to pretend that we're naive. We're not. We may be ignorant of certain things, but you know what? We can tell when you're being a sarcastic asshole. We also know that you'll tell us what to do one thing, and then you'll... What? What'll you do? You'll try to convince us to do something that's against our best interest. Something that only benefits you. Oh, it's not your fault if you talk the retard into it. Well, we're not retarded. A lot of times, though, we are taken advantage of because we're in desperate situations. We're not heard like that pretty girl in class that everybody wants. We're not heard like that bully whose mommy will always come in and bail his ass out. Her son could do no wrong. Oh, he would never bully anybody, and so on and so on. One-tenth of 1% of American population succeeds in ending their own lives. 1/10 of 1%. For people with aspergers, it's almost 20%. That's because 2/3 of Aspies have attempted to end their own lives. And 1/3 of those have succeeded. We don't matter. We never matter. People show how much they care based on how much they're willing to listen, and we get stuck, of course, with your established patterns. When we start telling you about our issue and how it relates to autism, you're going to blow us off by telling us you have a cousin who's autistic, or you have a daughter who's autistic. So we try to start again, and then you interrupt us. I already told you my daughter's autistic. And I bet you listen to your daughter about as well, don't you? Are autistic girls at a higher risk of ending their lives than other girls? Yes. Are autistic boys more likely to end their own lives than other boys? Yes. By a lot. We end our lives at a 300% greater rate than the rest of you because we don't matter to you. When we are overwhelmed, you pretend that we're just throwing tantrums. Meanwhile, you throw tantrums at us because you're fucking embarrassed, because you did something shameful, because you did something wrong. Bravery is not the absence of fear. It's standing in the face of it. I already knew that as a male, I'm not very likely to get hurt. I know that as a white person who is broke, I'm not likely to get hurt. But I also recognize that it's a poverty issue. Black kids are taught to hate us. You know, we didn't do that so much in the 1980s. That's not to say that the 1980s were without racism. That's simply to say that we were the first fully integrated society. Many of our parents had grown up in schools with minorities. But their parents hadn't. It was a new experience for all of them. By the time I was in school in the 1980s, there was already quite a few kids in my class that were mixed. That's right. Your patterns are pretty easy. They're pretty easy to notice, pretty easy to recognize. When somebody that you don't care about, but you're expected to care about socially, comes to you for help, you just talk over them. You talk over them. Let me tell you what leads to cutting and suicide. You know what leads to cutting? Not listening. You know what leads to suicide? Not listening. When a person has been ignored to the point that they're actually begging people to end their lives, do you ever go back and see how many times that person tried to reach out to you, tried to let you know that something was wrong? With someone who's got aspergers, it's different. No matter how intelligent we are, you're going to assume that we're retarded. No other word for it. You pretend that when we're overwhelmed that we're stupid. You tell a bunch of mythology like autistic people have no emotions. No, we absolutely do. We're not allowed to show them. We're not allowed to express them. We're not allowed to take part. The more you abuse us, the more we rebel. And if we're not rebelling, we're contemplating a way to end our own existence. None of this should have ever been public. I should have never had to post anything public. But I did not get the choice in the matter. Having a safety and support network is important for all of us. I'm not talking about a goddamn therapist. I'm talking about friends and family in real life. In real life. How many of you are willing to go to prison to protect children? I've been to prison for protecting children. How many of you ever had to spend a night in jail for protecting children? I haven't gotten any sleep and it's about 5 a.m. I'm gonna try again, but ain't no guarantees. We need to do something to stop this systemic sexism towards men and this systemic political bullshit that's getting us killed. It's gotta stop.